In this lesson, we want to talk about aligning priorities. Now, everybody has a priority. You can look at your own personal life, and a priority for you might be getting an education, or retiring at the age of 27, or going on a world cruise or something like that. That could be a priority for you. But it's important to remember that since everybody has priorities, to identify what their priorities are and see if there's an overlap between what you are looking for and what they are looking for. For some people, it's a career. They might be very highly career motivated and focused just on that. It could be their family is the number one priority. It could be power, wealth. It could be social or political power that is the motivator within their individual sphere. And finding somebody's priorities are key to being indispensable, because then you can modify or align your priorities to a certain aspect with theirs. And the best way of doing this, in what we'll do in this lesson, is using what they call a Venn diagram, where you're going to go through and you're going to list all your priorities as circles on a map. Then you're going to list the priorities of your coworkers and the people who are in your bigger circle. That would be family and friends. And we'll start to see where these overlaps are. Now, in some cases, you'll notice that maybe your priorities in your organizations or your boss's priorities don't overlap at all. And that's where you can make the adjustments. So we'll spend more time on this as we look at aligning priorities in this lesson. In this continued lesson, we're talking about aligning priorities. And this is probably one of the most important aspects of this entire course. The closer you can align your priorities with everyone around you, your boss at work, your spouse, significant other, the better off you are. Because once someone perceives that your goals and your priorities are the same as theirs, even though you have to fake it sometimes, you have to understand that this gives them a really good sense of not only participation, but of trust. Now, everybody has a priority. The priority could be in education. For instance, when I was in my doctorate program, writing my dissertation, it was a long, hard process. And I had to set up a priority, and the priority was I need to get this thing done. And so in my office, I had a sign on my door, because my kids would always knock on the door. And the sign read, "Unless you or the house are literally on fire, don't knock on this door," because I had to set up a priority. Now, it doesn't mean that I didn't love my children or that I made them second-rate citizens. What it said was that at that point in time and place, the priority was getting this dissertation done, signed off, put to bed, and I'm out the door. And so I don't have this monkey on my back. Now, so everybody has a priority. Perhaps for some people it's their career, and you have people who are literally married to their careers and every waking moment. That's one of the bad things about modern technology, is getting sometimes a career-minded individual to remember that even though they can contact you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a week, your priority might not be their priority, and so therefore they have to confine themselves to Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And for some people, that's really hard to do. Other people, the number one priority is their family. It's the well-being of their children and their education and their spouse, and providing for them. And it's all of those elements that come around for providing for their family and to have a successful family. And it's really an admirable goal. There was a saying one time that says, "No success in life can compensate for failure in the home." And it's very, very true. Now, for some people, and historically we see this, it's power. You can go down the annals of history and look at Julius Caesar. You can look at the King of Spain. You can look at the kings of England. You can look at modern people such as Joseph Stalin, Adolf Hitler, Roosevelt, Churchill. All of these big-name people, they all had a sense of power. On the other hand, for some people, it's just the sense of wealth. They want more money, and there is never quite enough. In fact, if you go and you examine the Madoff Ponzi scheme, they asked him one time, they said, "Well, how did you get these really sophisticated, highly intelligent, very wealthy people to give you their money and go along with your Ponzi scheme?" And Bernie Madoff said, "For the simple reason that if they had $3 billion in the bank, They wanted 6, and I promised that I could get them 6. And so for some people, it's the wealth. Now, on the other hand, it's social or political status. And you go back, you walk down any mid-sized to upscale mall, and you look at what is being shown in the storefronts. And unfortunately, you see this much more with women than you do with men. I think because women are so much more fashion conscious and know what they're doing with it than men. But it's, the size of the bag and how much the purse costs and the Jimmy Choo shoes and all of those elements. For men, on the other hand, the political or the social status can be the Rolex watch. It can be the Armani suit. Mostly for guys, though, you're going to see them with the Ferraris and the Lamborghinis and all those expensive cars. So finding someone's priority is essential to becoming indispensable, because their perception of you is their goals and your goals are the same goals, and that you're there to make sure that they become highly successful. Therefore, they trust you. They are much more to pull you into their inner circle, and it makes you much more indispensable because you know what they want and how to deliver what they want. And we'll talk more about this later on.